Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz, founder of Furious Minds, and this is my weekly segment on Beat TV. This is our second segment about the Olympics, the first one of which aired 2 weeks ago. And we're going to talk about, now that the Olympics are midstream, the two big firsts that NBC had for this year's Summer Olympics and what happened. The first being the Twitter partnership, which was a non-dollar exchange partnership to really legitimize Twitter and to help NBC be part of the social commentary around the games, as well as then the delivery of a first true multi-screen TV everywhere proposition for the Olympics. So what's happened? The irony of it is that despite the fact that the content has been available on any screen on demand in real time, it's actually made the NBC Olympics TV advertising inventory more valuable, which has been a big part, according to Comcast's earning results that were yesterday, of them actually exceeding break-even expectations for this year's Olympics, whereas the cost of the sponsorship to NBC is about $1.3 billion. It's said that they're $100 million ahead right now in advertising dollars, and that's a result of, within the first week of the ceremonies, closing new ad deals for mostly primetime inventory and from tech companies. They've done a great job of making their primetime television inventory more value, which is where the majority of the revenue comes, in that despite the fact that their digital sales are up 300% from last games, they're only just above $60 million, which pales in comparison to their total ad dollars. And they've kept the value of the primetime inventory high by making it primetime. By virtue of the Olympics being in London, the reality is that that 8 o'clock spot in the US, which is when we saw the opening ceremonies on Friday, is well beyond when the live events actually occurred. And this has created a lot of fodder and controversy. I believe one of the things that's most notable is the hashtag NBCFail, exclamation point, which was proliferated by a journalist named Guy Adams, who specifically disclosed the email address of one of the senior executives of NBC on Twitter and suggested that audiences write him and complain about the fact that it was spoiled on Twitter and they delayed the broadcast. He was immediately shut off. And this, among other events, including the fact that a Greek athlete was eliminated from the games just a week prior to the games commencing because of a racist slur that he haphazardly, or she rather haphazardly, released on Twitter. There's a lot of controversy as to where the value creation is, and in fact, if it's only for NBC and the audiences are being heard, or in fact, everyone is gaining by this availability of broadcasts on every channel everywhere. The interesting fact is that it may only be the U.S. that feels that they're suffering, because the rest of the world is absolutely on board and participating with fervor. We've seen over 4 billion YouTube views thus far of the Olympics. And in China specifically, Sina Weibo, which is their sort of Twitter-like platform, on the first day of the ceremonies, there were over 119 million Twitter-like objects that flowed through the ecosystem. In the UK, during opening ceremonies, we only saw 10 million tweets, and in the US, which is reasonable considering it was delayed, we only saw 5 million tweets during the open ceremonies. So right now is a point in time, 15 million fans are following the Olympics, 1,000 athletes are active participants, but the question is, what is Twitter doing to NBC and to the viewer experience? NBC is holding back many of the live golden moments, including a very famous moment where a young Olympian won a gold medal, and just before NBC was about to air the delayed match, they showed a preview of the Today Show, which was her winning the gold medal and reuniting with her family, that would air tomorrow morning. This enraged audiences and fans. And it's a big part of the controversy around whether or not NBC should, in fact, have an obligation to serve the audience, or they should have an obligation to serve their shareholders. And that's really the crux of what we're seeing in regards to the fodder around the Olympics right now. The reality is that NBC is up $100 million. Well, and their cost of serving is also supposed to be about $100 million more than it was last year, or their operational cost. And as we said, 60 million of that is digital. But the reality is that on NBC.com, it's YouTube's broadcast. YouTube is the primary broadcaster for Sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, as many of you know, and NBC is using their feeds to populate the NBC.com stream. That's probably a great cost savings, which is artificially affecting the profitability, or at least the above average expectations of performance, to NBC, which I think is a bit suspect. Many others are also benefiting as a result, with the TV Everywhere tablet application and mobile delivery. companies like Verizon Fios are seeing incredible 4 times authentication levels, more than other applications of live sports. They think this is a huge turning point for live linear programming across multiple screens, as well as for live sports, and they've seen over 1.65 million activations of their widget as well on their set-top box. This says a lot as to time shifting and the TV everywhere value proposition, and if in fact it goes back to the tired and true reason why most people don't cut the cord is live streamed events being the reason that individuals will remain loyal, and they'll actually pay that tariff every month to subscribers. At the end of the day, the big question is, has Twitter hurt or has Twitter helped NBC? An Olympics advertising campaign for an advertiser is 4 times that of the Super Bowl. So that's a $40 million investment on average versus a $4 million investment for a 30-second spot. At the end of the day, advertisers and brands are both benefiting and suffering. They're paying more, but they're getting a much wider audience by virtue of the reach of the Olympics and the fact that fans are more engaged than ever. But the Olympics is an event for global citizens. When I was watching the ceremony, tweeted how proud I was to be part of this global community. And every time I watch it, my heart skips a beat of the pride of my fellow countrymen and women working hard in their training and their endeavors, and how much dedication they've put forth to make us proud on those days that they actually compete. Is that what the Olympics are about? Or is it just another financial endeavor? And NBC is not a not-for-profit company, so what obligation do they have to their audiences other than to make sure that they make the most money they can for their shareholders? We'll see. We have another week left. I encourage you all to be active in the Twitter sphere and on Facebook, but Twitter's winning, as we know, and see where it lands. Tell us how your experiences are. You're welcome to reach out to me at ashley@furiousminds.com. And for our last segment around the Olympics, I'd love to hear your thoughts as to whether or not this experience was enriched by social television and the second screen and multiple screen viewing and mobile, or if it was actually hurt. Thanks. Have a great week. Enjoy the ceremonies. Go Team USA.